Hey everyone, it's Kyle from Kool Collectibles, back again for another review, this time the Transformers Masterpiece MP-24 Star Saber. For all your Transformer needs, click the link in the description below to head on over to Robot Kingdom. They ship worldwide, so definitely check them out. Alright, so here he is, the next big MP from Takara, and when they announced that they were going to do a fan poll for the next big MP, I think they limited it to mostly Japanese fans, and I guess that was understandable when you look through the published list of candidates. I mean, I'd never heard of most of them, because the G1 cartoon pretty much finished with the 1986 movie for me, and so I had no idea about the Japanese continuation. And when they announced the winner to be Star Saber, I still thought, who the hell is that? But after finding out a bit more about the character, I still felt no nostalgia towards it, and so I was pretty adamant that I would pass on this particular MP. But I got to hand it to the lead designer, Hasashi Yuki, I think his name is, and his Twitter account, because he probably had the best teaser and ad campaign leading up to a release of an MP, and couple that with all of the fans, his infectious enthusiasm, and the fans of Kool Collectibles, urging me to also get it. As you can see, I've pretty much folded and bought it anyway. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Probably not blown away like I have been with the previous 10 or so MPs. But that probably comes down to just my lack of nostalgia towards the character. But I'll get into all the details anyway and take you through the figure. So I'll just quickly go through the box, for example, here. So you get the usual box art at the front. So this is the standard Takara design. And you get all the photos of the figure and so on at the back. And the life-size pic of the figure itself. So that's pretty much standard stuff for Takara. Comes with the standard instruction book and the collector card, and I guess they've continued with the trend started by Ultra Magnus, with the sort of different artwork and not the standard sort of grid and static sort of pose, which I did prefer, but I guess I'm just going to have to suck that up and get used to it, because they've obviously changed the way they want to do the collector cards. Because I got this from Robot Kingdom out of the Asia region, it did come with the collector card and coin. So I guess it's fairly nicely designed here with the Star Saber outside, the saber chest on the inside, and then the coin. But I always rip open the packaging and display my coins on the easels anyway. But it does look pretty nice, and a nice little view hole there for the particular bit on the back there, which I think is the saber. Onto the accessories. It comes with these two blue pieces that ultimately form the flight stand, and I think they just join together like so. You just need to push that down, but I'll show you guys that a bit more in a second. It comes with this blaster rifle. I don't think it's painted, no, it's just a grey plastic, but fairly nicely done, so nothing too fancy there. It does come with a whole bunch of pieces for the sword. So it comes with the two blades, so the long blade for Star Saber and the short blade for Saber himself, and the chroming is pretty nicely done. No major issues on mine. And it is quite, it feels like it's quite thick as well, so pretty good quality there. It comes with the short handle for Saber, and I'll show you guys how it all sort of forms together. And then this piece here is the handle for the Star Saber sword, which is quite a bit larger. Comes with the head sculpt for Star Saber, and I gotta say it is pretty nice. I do like the metallic finish on the face there, but that's probably the only part of the head that is painted. Everything else is just coloured plastic. I have seen online some of the photos where the yellow crest there is a little crooked or a bit off, but mine seems okay, so just be aware of that. These antennas are pretty nicely done. You can take these off, and just be aware that when they're in their sort of front position, as you fold that down, they do tend to sort of fold in and fold out and not really stay straight, and you know, they do come off. But you can just clip it back on like that, and there's no major issue there. So overall, fairly nicely done. It comes with the shield here, which is unpainted, but the plastic quality doesn't feel too bad. And this is sort of like a thicker, glossy blue plastic here. And this will ultimately double as the flight stand as well, that I'll show you guys in a second. The two main components are, of course, these two here, in Saber and the V-Star. So Saber here, I think this is pretty much the way he looks straight out of the box. If you've got the recent Combiner Wars aerial bots, I can't remember what the real one's called. Is it Firefly? I think it is. The red plastic on that one is pretty similar to the way they've done Star Saber here. Star Saber's probably just that smidge a bit more better in quality, so it's not as translucent, so it is quite nice. But again, the paint app is pretty few and far between. There's not much regarding paint anywhere, but once you start playing around with the figure and seeing that it's mostly a parts former, you pretty much quickly appreciate why they went down the path of not having a lot of paint, because you know, trying to push things and into slots and a whole bunch of other stuff through the transformation process. If it was painted, you'd very quickly get paint chips all over the place and pretty much ruin the figure. So I think they made a pretty good call on that part. But there are some painted areas, so you can see here on the inner wing here, that's painted white there as opposed to the white plastic here. The chroming is pretty nice on mine, so no major issues there. And I think there might be some red paint along this section here as well. But other than that, the plastic is pretty nice. The blue plastic here and the silver paint work on the inside torso there is also pretty nice. So that's pretty much it for Saber. Now for the V-Star, this is pretty much a big chunk of plastic. And it's pretty white, as you can see, so I'm not sure how that's going to last over time. I would probably recommend keeping it out of the sun, because I have seen some of the old G1 versions of Star Saber, and they do decidedly look very yellow. So with so much white plastic, definitely watch out for where you put this. People have mentioned that these are die cast, and I guess they do feel a little bit heavier there, so I think these pieces here are die cast. I'm not sure if these pieces on the side here are, but these definitely are. They do feel a bit colder than the rest, but these ones I'm not sure if they're die cast either. But overall, the molded plastic is pretty nice, but I guess this does contribute to the overall sort of very toyish look for the figure. And I guess even from the front here, everything here is pretty much just colored plastic. So I guess it doesn't have that that particular MP wow factor that we've, I guess, been spoiled with over the last you know, what is it, 12 MPs now since MP10. And so you know, I have been used to some pretty amazing paint apps and I guess transformations as well. So we'll get into the transformation in a second, but I guess, you know, my previous video was about those masterpiece moments, and I'm actually struggling to find a particular masterpiece moment for this figure. So I'll probably have a think about it towards the end of the video and see if I can actually come up with one. But I'll just stop for a second and take you through each component. I just realized one thing I did miss, because he's still stuck in there from when I was playing around with it before, is the little brain, as they call it, I think, which is this little guy right here. So I'll just zoom in and give you guys a look. And it is pretty nice for something that is probably less than 2 centimeters in height. They've done a pretty good job with it compared to the previous human figures with you know, the Spikes and Daniels and so on. those had some pretty terrible paint applications, but this one here, particularly in the head sculpt there, for something so small, they've done a pretty clean job of it. There is a, you know, I guess you can see little bits of yellow bleeding through there, and probably some paint marks here and there, but overall for something so small, I've got to say this is pretty impressive, and it does have some decent articulation, so you can move both arms up and down. So there are hinges here and hinges here that are pretty obvious, and you can just bend the legs as well to get him to sit in the cockpit, which I'll show you guys in a second. So back on to Saber, and just close that back up. So here he is, pretty much like he is out of the box. So I think just to get him into the sort of jet mode, just fold these. All of the wings and fins and so on are all hinged and adjustable, so you can pretty much display them how you want. So just fold those up like so, and these are folded down already. And that's pretty much it for the jet mode. You can lift out the cockpit here. So that's another thing I'll recommend for this figure. If you're going to be messing around with this figure, you definitely need to have some fingernails. So there's the cockpit there, and that's some nice painted silver and so on there. Not much other detail in there, but fairly nice. So you just make sure you got the legs folded up and the arms up like that, and then you can just place him sitting in there like so. So there he is, flying his jet, and just clip that in like so. And I think it also has some landing gear, so you've got this little tab here. You can fold out the landing gear, and then the backs have a couple of little tabs here as well. And so there you have the landing gear, and it does roll pretty well actually. I wasn't sure if they were actually wheeled or if it was just molded plastic in the shape of a wheel, but it does roll, so that's pretty nice. Now, just to get him into the Saber robot mode, I'm not sure if I'll just do that just yet. I'll just show you the V-Saber. Hold on a second. Alright, I think I just called this thing the V-Saber. It should be the V-Star, but here's a closer look at it anyway. Overall, I do like the little metallic red paint app that they've got in the inside part here. Would have been nice if they just extended that all the way across to make that consistent. But again, all of these wing tips and so on are all adjustable. I think folding them out a bit like this is probably a bit more cartoon accurate. If you can remember that from some of the cartoons, particularly the videos that I saw on YouTube, these are probably bent outwards a bit like that. But you can transform him into the, further transform him. So this section here, you just flip out, and you'll see that this is like a little clasp, which you can then put the head sculpt on. So I'll just show you that. So on the back of this head sculpt is this little hinge thing here. So essentially all you do is fold the ears down and push the head back up like that, and just fold that down. And as I was saying before, they do end up pointing inwards a little bit, or tend to. And then all you do is just open that up a little bit and clasp that on in there, and then you can fold that back and just sit it over the, if you can line it up and sit it over there like so, and then just open out that those ears again. And I think that is pretty much how the head looks on sitting on there. And then you can turn him over, and I pretty much just put the landing gears on. So you fold out these Autobot symbols here, and then you can just flip out these wheels, which are pretty tight. So just flick those out like so. And then these ones at the back here, and you can see the little hinge there. So you just fold that out like so, and then fold that out. So that's a pretty neat effect. Fold that out, and then fold that out. and essentially you get sort of landing gear at the back here, so you can just sort of futz around and get that to look a little bit straighter like so, and then it pretty much just sits like that. And again, those wheels are pretty nice, so it does roll quite nicely. I can't actually recall seeing him in this particular mode in any of the cartoons, but I've only watched 1 or 2 episodes, so that's probably just me. Now you can then put him into the full vehicle mode, which is I'll just show you quickly a photo there, or a picture from the cartoon. So that's where you pretty much merge the V-Star and Saber together. So I'll just show you guys that. Alright, so you pretty much just fold these wings down like they were originally out of the box, and fold these wings so they're vertically up like so, and then get the V-Star and open up his chest here, and what you'll see, I'll zoom right in here, you can see this little vertical thing that's sticking up here. There is a button on the back that you can see right here that you can press to make that move forward like so. Most of the time I've found that it's not really necessary to use it, but it might just be easier to push forward to reach into the particular hole that you see right here. So what you need to do is essentially insert this guy. I'll just zoom back out again. So you insert this guy at an angle with that tab going into the hole there, and then just pushing it into place. So I'll just show you that now. So you just get it in there like so, and then just push and lock it in place like so. So you just double check that it's in place there and all lined up, and it is. And then you pretty much just close those back up like so, I think. And that is pretty much it like that. And then you can get his blaster rifle here and put it on the back there, and that is pretty much the full vehicle mode. So it does look pretty cool. You just probably have to watch out when you are pushing that in, that these wings aren't going to rub against that particular slot there. So instead of being vertical, you probably just want to make them splay out a little bit like that, so there's a bit of clearance. But that is pretty much the full vehicle mode there. While I have it in the full vehicle mode, I'll show you guys the flight stand. So you pretty much take the shield here and slide this whole blue section off, and then you get these 2 pieces that I showed before, like so. And then just slot these in, so you'll see the various slots here. Mine is extremely tight, and so I probably need to use a bit of the hairdryer trick. You don't want to push too hard just in case you snap something. So I'll probably just leave it at that position for now. And then you just slide it into here, like so. Like that. And then this whole piece here pretty much just is molded exactly to his crotch here. So if I just show you that, pretty much just place it across like so on his crotch, and there you have a pretty damn awesome flight stand. So there you have it. I mean, it does look pretty good that way too. I really do like how they've designed that in, and that is a pretty nice mode to display the figure anyway. So I'm probably in 2 minds about leaving him like that, or having him in bot mode. But I'll make that decision once I figure out how much room I've got left in the cabinet. But now I'll get on to the transformation of each of the parts and into the full robot as well. Alright, so I'll just get Saber into his bot mode, but I just did notice that I've had these flipped around to the black side this whole time. But they should be flipped around to the red side. The black is only for the full robot mode, but I've just flipped them around for now. So to get him into bot mode, you pretty much start off by getting the little brain guy back out of there. So I'll just get him out, just put him aside, and then this whole front section here is just hooked on, so you pretty much just pull it out like so, and that pretty much reveals the little head there. And then you just fold these wings up at the side, and then fold these all the way back like so, and then you get the feel for what is going to happen. So these arms here just come out to the sides. You can fold those down, fold that, and come down, and then the lower arms just fold out. So you just fold those out like so, and it all is nice and firm, but not too loose, so I do like that. And then the fists just fold out like so. Now I guess the next bit in pulling these legs down is probably the fiddliest bit, and I can just see with this sort of sliding mechanism, you keep doing this and you're probably going to end up with a very loose figure that might not even be able to stand up. So you pretty much just grab him as tight as you can at the top here. And I always struggled to pull this down, but you pretty much just pull down like so, and I think that's fully extended now. Yes, it is. So you just pull that down like that, and you just need to be aware that to put him back, you do need the legs in that sort of shape. So one click back and then straight down. Then you just separate the legs like so, and these are already folded back, and then you can just flip his little feet down here, the front. And I guess I was talking about the masterpiece moment before, and I guess this is probably the masterpiece moment for me for this particular figure. So as you know, in the cartoon as well, the brain will come up and I guess fill out that head sculpt that you see there. So what you need to do is just make sure the brain is as straight as he can be, like so. And then you just get your fingernail again, and you see that there's a little, I don't know, I guess a chair or an elevator type thing there, and there are a couple of tabs that you see just up here, and you just need to make sure that when you put him in, you can sort of feel when you get the right, they sort of tab in, and it's not quite happening here, because if you don't tab it in like that, he's not going to slide up. So you do need to make sure you tab that in, and I did find that it was easier to do it when he was on his back here. They tend to tab in behind his arms or something like that. There we go, I think that's in now. So that's tabbed in, and then what you do is you just fold that up, and he slides up like an elevator and fills out the head sculpt, which I think is a pretty damn awesome feature. I'm not sure if that's the way he was in the way it was in the original G1 toy, but I do know that that is very cartoon accurate and pretty damn awesome. So that's probably the masterpiece moment for me. Articulation wise, it's pretty good up the top, not so good at the bottom. So the arms have a pretty good range of motion. You got some nice ratchet joint there, and he does have the elbow to about 90 degrees. There is no wrist rotation or anything, or a little bit of a wrist rotation there. You can actually get that in, so that's not too bad. There is a bit of this hollow thing like a Bumblebee, but I don't really tend to notice too much, so that's okay. So that's pretty much the top part, and the head, I do think the head does move as well. So it does swivel from side to side, which is pretty cool, considering you know, that faceplate was pushed up by the brain. So that is a very nice feature there. But I guess I am disappointed with the lower half. There, you can't splay his legs out, which would have been a perfect thing to do for this sort of size. But you can, you get a little bit of play, but not much. With the knees, everything is on a ratchet, so you get a fairly good bend there in the knee, and it does feel very tight on the way back. So you just need to be careful there. The feet, there's no sort of ankle rocker on the feet, but they are already sort of pre-angled to give that impression anyway, probably due to the fact that there is no splaying of the hips here. So that is pretty much the limitation of the legs. You do have the forward ratchet on the hip there, and going back as well, up to about there. So limited articulation in the legs, but he does look pretty awesome overall. Now I'll show you his little shoulder shield thing. So you pretty much just fold that down and that'll reveal, I think it's got a couple of tabs in here that you might see there, and then these holes here on his upper arm, you pretty much just clip that on. I think if I can line that up and clip it in there, so you heard that click, and that is his, I don't know, shoulder shield or arm shield or something like that. And I'll just do his sword as well. Just hold on a second. Alright, so his sword is pretty straightforward. You just get this piece and the short blade and just clip it in like so. And you will notice that the hilt has these grooves in it. I'll just grab his hand and see if you can see it. So his hands have the corresponding sort of groove in them. So you just need to sort of slide that in place and get that groove in around the thumb like so, and then just close up the fist like that, and it is a pretty good grip. So there is Saber set up with his sword and his shoulder shield thing. So overall, he's not too bad. I think he's probably about deluxe size for those who follow the Transformers generations and so on. So he's a good sort of standalone figure. But ultimately, of course, it's all about Star Saber himself, so I'll get onto that right now. Alright, to get him into Star Saber mode, you pretty much start with the V-Star here and just lift this head sculpt out the way. And these leg sections are all pegged in via some blue tabs along the sides here. So you just need to just unpeg it like so a little bit, which will loosen that up, and you'll see a couple of holes at the front here. So when you lift this whole back section, there's a couple of cylindrical little tabs. So just fold that forward and just push those in like so, and then this whole sort of leg section folds out. So I think it's probably easier to start from this end. Now the arms here, so they're the bottom of the forearms here, so they're all sort of pegged in and so on. So you pretty much just have to try and unpeg them, which it looks like it's already started to unpeg. So if I just undo that, so there you go. So that's that leg down, and then you would notice that in the instructions it talks about this little push thing here. So you pretty much need to push that down to release this leg mechanism. So you just fold this whole section. It is pretty heavy, so I think you just hold that down. I think no, it's not moving. There we go. So you just fold that and clip that in place, and to unclip it you then just need to press that button here. So I'll just do that on this side as well. So you just unpeg everything like so, and then fold that all down and clip that in place like that. So then these back wings, just fold those down, and then these fold back like so. And then these thigh sections, you turn the thighs, the whole thigh inwards like that, and then fold that, fold that to the front, I believe. And then this side here, you fold that in again like that, and then this you fold out like so. So then you form the front of his legs like that. And then for the arms, you pretty much just hold the top here and pull his arms down like so. There's a bit more friction in those arms like so. And then the feet here, you just fold this whole sort of mechanism up like that, and you'll notice that in the jet mode these are sticking out a bit, so it's on like a bit of a rocking mechanism. So you just push that in and it sort of makes the feet stand out a bit more. And then you just fold that up like so. So instead of sticking up at an angle like that, pretty much just push that down and it'll push the feet down. So there is a bit of ankle rocking motion, but not too much, and so probably less than some of the other figures that they've released recently. But that is pretty much the lower half of his body. Alright, so in this mode, that's pretty much the main body ready for Saber to combine with him. So I'll just move him out of the way for now and show you the transformation of Saber here. Pretty straightforward. You just fold up the arms again and just peg them in like so. Fold up the arms and just have them down just like they were previously in the jet mode. Oh, actually fold his fists in again. Just fold that down. Fold his fists in like so, and then just join his feet up again like that. So what you're going to do now is pretty much on this ratchet joint, fold his whole body forward. And the first couple of times I did this, I thought I was going to break something. You just, I find it easy to just lift those hip tabs up a little bit, and then just click. You do need to make sure you click it all the way until you get to that point. So I think that's about right. And then just make sure these lower legs here are connected, and then you can fold these back up along that joint like so. And then yes, you need to push this down, which is always a little bit tricky, but you push that down to get to that particular point. And I think I forgot to fold these back down. So I think that is pretty much it. Fold it in like so, just make sure everything is sitting correctly. And I think that is pretty much it, and this is the point where you do flip these back over to the black side, like so. So that essentially is the chest. Alright, so to put Saber in is pretty much like you put him in the previous mode. You just open up his chest again and you utilize that same slot, which I think goes in there, I believe, or back here, I'm not quite sure. But I'll try and do this on camera. It was a bit fiddly before, so I might try and just get that arm out the way and push that button to move, if I can actually find the button. This is what I forgot. One of the things they recommend doing is to just unclip that again to reveal the button at the back here. So I'm just push that forward and just place him in there. If you can just sort of line that up along the bottom. I think that's clipped in. And then you just grab the shoulders here and push, and it will clip in like so. So there you go. You just pretty much lift it up and make sure that everything is lined up and those things are clipped underneath. So I think that looks okay like so. Alright, so these wings, you just close the chest back up here, and these wings just fold back like so. And the back part here, I guess this is again very cartoon accurate as well. If you watch the transformation on YouTube or wherever, you will see that this head comes up over the back and covers Saber's head. So you just need to be aware that you need to push that down a little bit at the back there, and then this just folds forward and covers that fairly easily like so. And then you just push his head, the face sculpt down, and then rotate these back up again without snapping anything. and then fold those out like so, and that is pretty much Star Saber. So there you have it. I'll just quickly go through the articulation. The arms are pretty good, so you can splay the arms out, and they do rotate on pretty loud ratchet joints that you see there. I did notice that these black sections here can actually unclip, so if you just fold those out, they'll unclip and give you a bit of motion there, which might help when you're trying to have him hold the sword or do some sort of pose with the arms closer together. So that's a nice feature that they've added there, and then you can just sort of clip them back in place like so. There is a bit of an elbow swivel out on another ratchet joint, and the elbows are actually double jointed, so you can see there's a joint there and a joint at the bottom there, so that's pretty nice to get an angle of about, maybe close to 45 degrees anyway. So the upper arms are pretty good. The lower half, I guess, is a bit limited again. There, I can't see any waist rotation. Yeah, there's no, so like Ultra Magnus, I guess, there's no waist swivel. It does have a bit of play, but I don't want to push it and break anything in there. Oh, actually, there is a bit of waist swivel, so maybe one click to either side, so I guess that's not too bad. And the legs, the hips here are on these big massive ball joints, similar to, I guess, Soundwave and so on. So you can splay them out on those ratchets, and they do ratchet forward as well, so there is pretty good range of motion. And the knees here, you can bend those. Oh, actually I haven't even finished the transformation. Forgot about the back here. You pretty much fold that back up. Actually, I almost forgot, you can unclasp the head sculpt here. Let me just do that. Unclasp that and fold that away, and then you can fold that back up like so. And I think they also say to fold this up like that. I'm not sure if that looks any better than just having it down, to be honest, but I think the official transformation is to have it up like so. But now that I have unhinged the head, I think you can see that you can now rotate it and have it look up in various positions, so that is a pretty cool effect there. So, but back onto the legs, there is the rotation at the hips here to have his feet facing a bit further out. The knees here bend up to about that particular angle, which isn't too bad. And his ankle rockers is about that far, so not bad for when you have him in that sort of wide open stance like that. He does look pretty good. Alright, so I'll just put together the large sword. So you pretty much just get that forward piece and flip this piece open, which will allow you to flip out this handle, and then you just close that back up like so. You can then flip this section out like so, and then you can grab that and just face it the right way with the little peg there, peg that in like so. Now I've tried pushing that in as far as I can, and when you fold this down it still has this pretty ugly gap like that. Now I don't know if there's anyone else who knows how to fix that, but I think that's pretty much the way it's going to look. And then you can just fold that back over to hide that. So this is the shorter handle. So I think I guess you can get Saber to hold this, or Star Saber. Now that's not the final mode that I prefer. What you will need to do is flip this back open and flip this side back open, fold that back up and grab this additional piece here, and then just slide that in there like that, and then just close that all back up again. like that, which is essentially the huge handle now. So there is no sort of gripping mechanism at all. So if I just grab the figure, you pretty much just have to open up his hand here, and I think there might be a groove in there somewhere, but what I found is just easier to just stick it in there like so, and then just close the fist around it. So it is pretty loose. There might be a groove in there, but I haven't been able to find a fairly decent spot for it. But he does hold it pretty well like that. And it's not going to really go anywhere in that sort of pose. So you can sort of pose it around like that. Now the shield, on the other hand, there are a couple of grooves on the shield. And so if I just take that out so it doesn't flop all over the place. If you just grab his other arm and flip his fingers out like so. Now I'm not sure if you can see. I'll just have to see if I can zoom in on his hand here. Right along this front edge here, there is a little groove. So with the shield, you pretty much have to try and line it up so that the groove here fits right into the groove on the fingers, and then close up the fingers. So it's probably going to be too hard for me to show you that on camera, but I'll just do it and give you guys a look at the final look. Right, I think you can see now where I've got the groove into the fingers there. So essentially all you have to do now is just try and gently close that up without dislodging it, and then it can hold the shield like so, and have it essentially looking like that. Now I guess his elbow is probably a bit loose, but if I zoom back out to give you guys a look, he can hold it fairly well like so, and then you can just put the sword back in and have him standing there like a knight warrior. So he does look pretty cool. Alright, so here he is set up with some of the other MPs for a size comparison. So you can see that he's probably, at least a centimeter taller than Ultra Magnus, and definitely much bigger than MP-10 and the Autobot cars. So I guess G1 aesthetics wise, he probably doesn't suit the other figures from the cartoon that we're all used to. Particularly if you're not familiar with the Japanese continuation. But I guess looking back at some of the episodes of the Transformers Victory, this figure I guess is as cartoon accurate as any of the other MPs that they've released to date. So in fact he's probably even more cartoon accurate with the transformation, the parts forming and the head sculpt and everything. He's probably one of the more cartoon accurates in fact, than some of the other MPs. So I guess it's a shame that I guess in my eyes the aesthetic doesn't really gel with the season 1, 2 and the 1986 movie, because looking at it now I still think more Gundam than Transformers, but that's just my own sort of nostalgia or lack of nostalgia for the character. But for all of you fans that are into the Japanese continuation, and I know there are heaps of you who do love that cartoon, you're pretty much going to love this figure probably more than some of the MPs that have come out to date. So definitely recommended for all you Japanese continuation fans. For the others that are more like myself, who are more into the original season 1 and 2 cast, I wouldn't say it's highly recommended for you guys. It probably doesn't fit in with your collection, and I'll probably have to play around with which mode I want to display him in. But he does look fairly cool like he is here. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the figure. I hope you guys liked that review. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. But if you did like it, hopefully you can click the subscribe button, because I've got a couple of other Transformers reviews coming up with the Combiner Wars Megatron and Armada Megatron coming up. So, and I do have a couple of 3 other third-party figures as well with the Disguiser figures, which are I guess, third-party versions of the Masterpiece Nissan. So hopefully you can stay tuned for that, and thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.